Hello and welcome back to the NRLW Weekly podcast. Thanks to Lite N Easy and Harvey Norman. I'm Marlee Silva, basically a professional NRLW superfan, and joining me, as always, is the one, the only, the legend of the game, Ruan Sims. On the show today, well, boy oh boy, did the Sharks bounce back or what? We also have our Lite N Easy Learning with Ru. I'll let you know what caught my eye on the sideline, and we get to your listener questions. But right now, Ruan Sims, how are you feeling? I feel like I was a bit nervous in that intro. You know why? Because during the week, I remembered that this video of our podcast goes up on YouTube, and I often dance to our theme song, and I thought, wow, the public can see me do that. So I just was really conscious of that in that moment.
Well, you know what? I did not know that.
Oh.
So now I do.
Yeah.
And now I'm nervous.
Well, you shouldn't
After
be.
the fact.
You shouldn't be because
I think I sit there with my RBF on, just like staring at something, waiting.
You're just in the zone. That's what it is. You're in the zone, and I'm going to throw you straight into your zone right now because we need to talk about your NRLW Weekly medal votes this week. So at the end of this season, we're going to give an NRLW Weekly medal, and it's going to go to who you vote for throughout the year, a player and the team of the round. Who is your team and player of the round this week?
This week I'm giving the team of the week to the Sharks, 56-6. They equalled their own biggest victory record. So that was pretty impressive, especially considering they probably didn't turn out the best way that they would have wanted in round one. So a really good response from the girls. And my player of the week is Emma Verren. And 4 tries. She set up a couple more. I thought she was really great, especially through the middle. Her footwork is incredible. So, yeah, Emma Verren, player of the week.
Emma, to me, looked like what she did her first year in the NRLW where she had the joint Dally M with Millie Elliott. It was just her in space, unstoppable. I mean, I loved watching it. And I think they run out of Try July celebrations.
Yeah, they did,
the
because they had so many. But no, I thought she played absolutely fantastic. And, you know, I think she looks quicker.
Yeah.
She looks like she's picked up some speed, if that was at all possible.
Crazy.
So, yeah, it's a really great performance by Emma Verren.
Very well deserved, both of those votes. Let's get straight into the headlines. And the main one for this week has to be the way that the Sharks are back to their winning ways. As you said, they matched that record points that they've scored in the game. And amazingly, they actually created that record at GIO Stadium, but playing against the Eels.
Yeah, that was a double header that day. And that was a really good victory as well. However, I just thought, especially considering how they turned out in round one, they would have been really smarting because they know that they played well in patches, but they didn't play well consistently. And whereas I found that this game, they identified a weakness and they just kept going at it and just going at it until it dried up, and then they went to another one that they found and just kept going at it and going at it. So I thought they played a really good brand of football and put more good periods of time together, which I think Tony Herman will be really happy about.
From a player's perspective, when you do start the season with a loss, or it's a shock, or you have, a big loss even, what is it that you kind of talk about on your Monday in review, or how do you reset to then try and do exactly what the Sharks did and sort of turn it around the following week?
Yeah, well, you have to take the lessons out of it. You have to look at it, and you can't throw away the good at the same time. So you do have to really analyse the game and look at what you did well and what you didn't do well. And if a lot of what you didn't do well are things that you can control, that goes a really long way, because say, for example, our discipline was really poor. We gave away penalties, or we kept dropping the ball, that sort of stuff. Or we kept missing tackles. They're things that you can fix. It doesn't require an external source to fix. So that's a controllable. And you can, anything that you can control as an athlete is something you can influence. And you can't influence the result by willing a result into play, but you can influence the result by doing your job and going through and being really nice and clean and crisp with everything that you do. And I think that that's what good teams will do. They'll look at it and they'll say, okay, these are adjustments we need to make, and we can do that, next week. Great teams can adjust on the fly, which is really hard, but it can be done. Circa Penrith Panthers v Broncos in grand final.
Yeah.
Men's. That's adjustment on the fly, and look at the result that came off the back of it. So that's sort of, that's great. Players and great teams can do that in real time. And sometimes it just takes a little bit longer. Like you sometimes can get into a rut in the game and you can't get yourself out of it because it's just too many things going wrong. So that's when you look at the Monday, you review, you adjust, and then you go again on the next weekend.
Well, the Sharks will certainly be saying, let's keep doing more of that after the weekend in their reviews this week. There were a couple of big scorelines across the round. The Broncos and the Roosters were really, became quite dominant on the board. I have to be the voice of the kind of person that, I don't particularly like in the comment section of an NRLW post when there are scorelines like this and sort of make the point that when people see those, they tend to kind of go straight into, this is exactly the proof that we've spread the talent too thin and like these are boring games and I'll switch it off. And I got a comment on something about the Canberra game. I turned it off because it got so boring, blah, blah, blah. And I hate that. And I'm like, how do we counter that? Because it's not about the other teams being terrible. I think that in this case, especially with the Sharks, especially with the Broncos and the Roosters, they were just too good. Like it's actually about them being too dominant, right?
Yeah, they were great. All three of those teams played really good football on the weekend. And I would probably say to those people who were very quick to jump to that storyline or jump on that, I didn't hear anything from them after round one.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that kind of says volumes. Yeah. It's like, I didn't hear you after round one. And I understand that sometimes, if you don't like the scoreline or you don't like the way things are going, you're going to switch off. I never switch off any of those games. I'll watch them to the bitter end because there's always something to watch. There's always something to learn. There's always something interesting that goes on because I love footy and I'm a frother. So,
mic drop.
It is what it is. So, so I get it. And everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. But I think to me, it just shows that those three teams particularly played very well.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, speaking of learning, it's time for us to get into our fresh segment, Learning with Lite N Easy. Train hard, eat smart, fuel up with Lite N Easy's delicious, ready-to-eat meals, the choice of elite athletes and busy fans alike. Rue, what are we learning about this week?
All right. So I spent a little bit of time with ChatGPT.
Did you?
Yeah. And I got ChatGPT to help me if I can figure out how to do this. I was doing it before and now it's not working. Here we go. So I have created a little football field.
That's
and
so
it's
cool.
like a little chalkboard.
That's unreal.
Yeah. So I'm going to share this with you guys so that you can see it live.
Amazing.
But so the reason I've done this is because today I want to talk about it's lingo that I know I fall into all the time when I'm commentating. But also just from you guys at home or people, young girls or young boys watching and learning the sport, what we're talking about when we say splits. So if I'm talking about attack, field splits, what I'm talking about is the numbers that the defence are giving me.
Yeah.
So in a defensive line, anywhere on the field except for on the goal line, you're going to have 10 defenders that defend the width of the field because you've got 2 markers.
Yeah.
10 in the defensive line, which is 10 metres back from the play of the ball, and then your fullback is usually roving out the back somewhere. So when we talk about splits, this is what I'm talking about. So if I go in here, I'll do it and then I'll show you, Miles. So if we're talking about a 5-5 split, that's usually where the play the ball is in the middle of the field. So think about where the black dot is.
Yeah.
So that's your middle of the field. And the reason it's called a 5-5 split is because you've got to play the ball in the middle of the field and you will have 5 defenders on each side of the play the ball.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
5. So, so that's it there. And then your fullback's going to be out the back there.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So that's a 5-5 split. That's in the middle of the field. A lot of teams like to attack from there because they can get at what we call the 3 defender, which is the third defender in from the sideline. That's your 3 defender.
Yeah.
And that's usually a half. And so that's why when you get second rowers and stuff running or getting at the 3 defender,
that way.
Yeah, so they will try and get at that defender and try and draw them in as quickly as possible because then you can generally create an overlap on the outside. So that's the whole point of, the 5-5. But that's what I'm talking about when we say 3 defender. when we say 4 defender, obviously that's the one next to them, which is usually the second rower, and a 5 defender is usually a middle.
Yeah.
So sometimes like you'll be looking at getting at your middles will try and get at the 5 and 4, the space in here between the 5 and 4 defender.
Yeah.
Because what that means is that you'll collapse in there, they will get involved in the next play the ball, and you have to get a middle flipping to that short side.
Right.
And then for the ball players, that's money.
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
If you get a middle and it's towards the end of the half, flipping to a short side on a quick play the ball, that's really hard for them to defend because they're usually working really, really hard through the middle. So that's a 5-5 split.
Yeah.
And then just a little, bit of school on what that looks like.
Yeah.
All right. So now if I erase this, still being on the 5-5 split, what I'm going to show you is like a really good look that a ball player would like is called a wide 5.
Okay.
So it's still a play the ball, but it could be, say, towards the inside of one of those posts.
Yep.
So it could be just here, which means that these 5 defenders have to cover greater width.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so there's a
gaps.
bit more space out there. And again, halves love that. And then on here on the short side, obviously there's 5 defenders on a shorter side. So that's a 5-5, and that's called a wide 5.
Right.
Yeah. Now, if we're looking at the defenders go, oh, okay, this is a little bit sketchy. We're going to, oops, I dropped my pen. This is a little bit sketchy for us. So we're going to send 6 defenders. We're going to put 6 defenders on that long side, and we're just going to have 4 on this short side.
So does that make that short on that side?
Yeah.
Ah.
So this is now called, this is a 6-4 split.
Yeah.
But this is a wide 4.
Ah.
Again, halves absolutely love a wide 4 because they've got plenty of space.
Yeah.
And, more space to cover than the 6 here. So these are the things that you're kind of looking for when it comes to, like, as an attacker. The whole reason, you might hear commentators say they need to get to a point to play football. And it's usually your 5, like a wide 5 or a long 4, or a wide 4, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit more space to play with, and the defence is in 2 minds. They're like, should we send an extra defender? Should we not? Can we cover it? Can we not? And if their marker system, which I spoke about last week a little bit, isn't quite working, or they're really fatigued, that's when a lot of space will open up.
And is this what happens when, like, a team's rolling, when they've, like, had those first few couple tackles in the set, and they've, like, had quick play the balls, and they're just moving, so it's almost like you're putting that pressure on the defensive line, so they are unsure about what decision they're going to make and blah blah blah. Is that where this sort of happens at the back end of the set, or is this is early on?
No, this is anytime in general. But if the middle's rolling, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like the middle's just getting rolled.
Yeah.
That's just defense. Like the marker system might not quite be working, and the defenders are really tired. Yeah. And they're not winning the ruck. So there's a really fast play the ball speed. They're getting spat out the back. There's usually 1 marker, no markers. Yeah. Their width is a little too wide around like that A defender, which is the first defenders right off the ruck. There's a bit too much space there. But yeah, so that's a different one. Okay. But this is I just wanted to touch on what splits, because you might hear it, and sometimes I find myself I fall into that lingo. Yeah. And it can be if you don't know it, you sort of go, what does that mean? Yeah. So that's what sort of what the whole idea of it is. Yeah. Right. So when you've got a 5-5 split play the ball in the middle, you got wide 5 if it's just sort of inside of a post and they don't send an extra defender, and then you've got like a 6-4. Yeah. If they do send the extra defender, if it's a wide 4, they usually go for it. Sometimes like that 6-4, it might just be a little bit wider, and then they've got 4 and covering a decent amount of space and 6 covering the right amount of space. Then you're probably going to send it to the other side of the posts and play there and see if they get their numbers wrong then. Yeah. And then play off the back of it. Right. So that's what, playmakers, your 9s, your halves and your locks are looking for. That's the kind of look that they're after. And then the fullback obviously will jump in and plug if it's within sort of the 10, 20 metres coming up to the line.
I love this segment so much, Rue, because like I text you for the first game of round 2 saying that all I can hear is your voice in my head talking about the markers and the triangle and all that stuff we spoke about last week. And I'm quite a visual person. Yeah. So having seen how you've explained this, I know for some people who'll be listening on the podcast, you'll be able to see this if you check out the YouTube video. And I definitely want to share this with people so they can see it. Yeah. It's a really good way of knowing when you're sitting at home watching 9 on 9 Now, any of the NRLW games, and you can see the split of defenders on the line. You can understand that a bit better.
Yeah. So that's usually, and there's another one, it's a 7-3 split. And obviously that's because the play the ball is a little bit wider. Yeah. That's sort of closer to the, midway between the tap line and the scrum line. But then, again, that's a different way of playing. So yeah, but they're the kind of looks that they're after when they're when we talk about splits, that's what we're talking about. So yeah, so there's certain areas on the field where you've got to get your defensive numbers right, and if they don't, that's when trouble usually follows. So yeah, that's what they're looking for. They just want to try and break it down somewhere and then play off the back of what the defence gives them.
There you go. Thank you so much,
No,
Rue.
you're welcome. Hopefully that was interesting.
Yeah, that was Lite N Easy Learning with Ruan Sims. You're listening to the NRLW Weekly podcast with Marlee, Silva and the one and only Rue. Thanks to Lite N Easy and Harvey Norman. We'll be right back after this break.
Welcome back to the NRLW Weekly podcast with me, Ruan Sims, and of course our super fan, Marlee Silva. Thanks to Lite N Easy and Harvey Norman. Harvey Norman, the wait is over. Ninja Slushy, the professional frozen drinks maker that every home needs, is available now at Harvey Norman. Best prices, guaranteed. Now, Marlee, this is one of my favourite segments, your little segment. Marlee's What Caught My Sideline Eye?
What caught my sideline eye this week? Well, thank you so much, Rue, and that's a great introduction. It's nice, reversing the roles here a little bit. I have to start with this. I know we've already talked a lot about the Sharks for this round, but I couldn't go past, first of all, Steph Faulkner being the happiest debutante I've ever seen in my life. She didn't seem nervous. She was just like a kid in a candy store, so happy to be there. And have you ever seen a debutante celebrate with the smoothest celebration I think I've ever seen, right? The worm was precise. Yeah, she had a great game. Yeah, her footy was good, whatever.
Yeah, she scored 2 tries
casually. But that worm was the best thing I've ever seen.
It was magic.
I said to her, you've practiced that on the dance floor. Like, that is smooth.
Yeah. Like, she didn't pull that out for the first time on the weekend. That's definitely a learned behaviour.
I just think, to be debuting in Try July and to have thought, she said to me, there was no thought in my mind I was ever going to score a try. But if by some miracle that happened, I had to bring out the worm. And I just have to say the confidence and the composure and to be able to
execution.
It was so good. Yeah. That for me, I'm just like, ding, ding, ding. We have seen the girls continue to just win Try July, right?
They're killing it.
The performances, the choreography, the everything, the little nuances of what they're referring to in their celebrations. I love it. And I very much look forward to it every time a try is scored. But I had to give a shout out to Steph Faulkner for doing that on debut.
I love that. And also, can I add to your segment?
Of course you can.
What about the rodeo by the Broncos girls?
I don't even know if I saw this.
Yeah, it was hilarious. 3 of them. And they rocked forward, and then whoever was at the front kicked their legs out like a bucking bronco. No. It was awesome. It was actually really, really good.
They're so good. Yeah. I love it.
Killed it.
Now, the other thing that's caught my eye on social media is a bit of a random one, but a lot of big video game fans would be aware. Are you much of a gamer? Were you ever much of a gamer, Rue?
Only Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about as far as mine went.
I was a Sims girl, just quietly. That was my video game of choice, Sims. But I have to say, I'm a little bit do I need to find a PlayStation to play the new NRL 26 video game? You can play as your favourite teams. go on to maybe get redemption for a time for a game. That's what I keep thinking, right? Like a game that devastated you. You could use this video game to go and like say the 2024 NRLW Grand Final if you wanted to play as the Sharks and actually have them make that comeback a little bit earlier and then they win that Grand Final. You could do it on this game. And poor Rue's eyes are just vacant right now. She's remembering that. But it's really significant.
Piece of me died that day.
Yes, this video game has been around for a long time. I think it was once called Rugby League Live and the like. This is the first time we have girls involved and I just love that so much.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For me, it makes me think of, a couple of years ago when we had the FIFA Women's World Cup here. I remember a mate of mine saying, actually texting me and telling me I just had the most amazing experience. I can hear my little brother arguing, playing FIFA, the video game, with his mates on his headset because they all want to be Sam Kerr.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, this is having that opportunity for people to like engage with their teams and get to know the girls and like, because I think they all have player ratings and stuff, being able to do that and again, reach a completely different demographic. Yeah. I think that's really, really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
That's what caught my eye.
I like it. Well, that was very cool.
Thanks. Well, let's get into our listener questions because we love hearing from you guys. You send such thoughtful questions. I love it. Please don't hesitate to slide into the DMs and keep sending them to us. This first one comes from Grace. Says, loving the podcast. Thank you so much, Grace. The Bulldogs are now 2-0 after a tough win against the Tigers. Their defence has looked really strong. Do you think this gritty defensive effort is sustainable and can it carry them deep into the finals in their inaugural season?
Yeah, it is. I think defence, at first, Grace, really good question.
Yes.
And they have been really gritty. And they've been very resilient. And that resilience is going to be tested this weekend. Obviously, Tekka is suspended, so she'll be out. So she does a lot of work in the middle for them. So this is going to be tested. That grittiness, that resilience is going to be tested. But so far, I mean, it's stood up. It's really stood up. And, people say, but it was against the Tigers. The Tigers played really well. They
really did.
Played really well. And even against the Broncos, West Tigers played really well.
Yeah.
So, I would not be saying that they were easy beats, whatsoever. It was a tough game. And, you were out there. It was freezing conditions as well. But, I believe the way they play is sustainable because it's a mental attitude, definitely. And it's just your application to the tough stuff.
Yeah.
And just doing the little things right. And that is going to be really important to go deep into the season. The only concern is obviously if there's injuries, and the depth of their roster, how does that affect how they go? But, every team's in the same boat when it comes to that. But, I love the way they've been playing. Yeah. And, I would love to see them go deep into it because I just, like I said, I've spoken about this last week as well, just their mindset, that scraps mindset. They just fight for everything. And you can see that in the way they play. So, Grace, if you're a Bulldogs fan, I hope they do go deep for you and Marlee particularly.
I'd like to hear it. Thank you so much, Grace. This next one is from Mark. Hey, Marlee and Rue. The Reegan Hicks send-off for a dangerous throw in her NRLW debut was a big talking point. She's now facing a 2-game ban. What are your thoughts on the incident itself? Was it a clear send-off or were there mitigating circumstances? And more broadly, how do these types of tackles, particularly from young players, impact the game and the judiciary's approach to player safety in the NRLW? Like I said, very thoughtful questions.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in there. I could only scratch the surface for you, Mark, because we could probably talk about this for the whole podcast, to be honest. At the time, like watching it live, I just thought, oh, geez, that's awkward.
Yeah.
And then when I watched it back on replay, I think it was pretty clear it was going to be a send-off. And we've only had 3 send-offs in NRLW history. And a couple of years ago, obviously, that send-off by Kennedy Cherrington was worse. Like the action or the position that the player landed in or was put in was worse than what happened on the weekend. And I think Kennedy got 4 weeks.
Yeah, it was a really big.
Yeah, it was completely upside down, and and I know there was another player involved, and very similar, but it was very light contact by the other player, and I think she was always going to be taking a couple of weeks break after that. It was
that's a way of putting it.
She's an enforced break for a couple of weeks, but I tell you what, though, before that, I thought she was very good.
Yeah,
I thought she was very, very good, and to answer the second part of this question, these types of tackles happen when we don't drive in a tackle. It's when we catch and then we try and lift to solve. And sometimes accidents happen.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't deliberate.
No.
However, she was put in a precarious position, a dangerous position with force. That's the reasoning for the the send-off, sorry, and then the couple of weeks off. Now, I don't know if Mark's asking why it was potentially maybe such a short suspension. However, because NRLW only runs for 11 weeks, it's kind of prorated. Well, that's how I look at it. It's prorated because it's a shorter competition. Yeah. And then obviously it's enforced with those sort of findings around it and that sort of information. I think that the NRL's or the judiciary's approach to player safety is always paramount. Yeah. They're always player safety is always first. Yeah. So that's I have no concern.
Yeah, it's a hard line. I
have no concern of their worry about player safety. It's always foremost in their mind when it comes to this sort of stuff. But yeah, look, accidents do happen.
For sure.
Accidents do happen. This one, because it was lifting, it was always going to end with a suspension because of the lifting nature, and her head hit the ground first. Head and shoulder hit the ground. So that's why it was all,
I have to say, I think that these incidents in NRLW make a bigger splash than they do in the men's because they're rarer.
Well, they are, like I said.
Which is a good thing.
Since when have we been going? 2018?
Yeah.
5, 6, 7 years?
And only 3.
And we've only had 3.
Yeah. So and one of them was for biting.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's,
yeah,
not
it's
a bad
good.
strike rate.
I think it says to us that in the women's game, the way that the girls are taught to play, to tackle, also just body sizes and the difference and strength, we don't have as big a problem as what we've seen in the men's game. And that's important. That's what we want to have. Yeah. So the people are safe.
Hopefully I answered all of that, Mark's part of that question. But, I don't think these types of tackles, particularly from young players, I'm not sure what that means. So I'll wait to see if he's got something to think yet. But I just, it just happens. Yeah. It just happens. Accidents happen. Sometimes you get yourself caught in a precarious position, and at the end of the day, and I think I said this during the call, my first concern was with the player being tackled. Yeah. And I was glad to see that she got up and was able to play, was able to get moving straight away, because that's always my first concern. Yeah. Is the player safety. And that happened. And then, everything else runs off the back of it. So Lafipo was safe at the end of the day, but it could have been quite bad, hence the send-off and suspension.
Yeah, great question though, Mark. Keep sending us your questions. We love hearing what you're thinking about. And then you get a great breakdown like that. There was 5 questions in that one question, so you did get all of them.
So much.
Alrighty, let's get into our tips for round 3 of the NRLW for 2025. Of course, you can catch every single game live and free on 9 and 9 Now. You've got to be tuning in. What else are you doing with your time? Watch the NRLW, all right? First game, Raiders versus Eels. Raiders will definitely be hurting from last week.
Absolutely. And I think, did you bring it up during the call, or somebody brought it up during the call, that the Raiders don't actually have a very good record at home?
No, they've now lost 8 at home.
8 at home, and they're back there this weekend. And to be fair, I think both sides will be smarting after their losses and performances last week. And obviously, I think the Eels may be a little bit fatigued travelling back from New Zealand. It's the first time the Eels have had to do that. Yeah. So we'll see how they turn out physically. I noticed Mahalia Murphy was named at number 18.
Okay.
So she's returning from injury. Yeah. Whether they make a late change or not, I'm not sure. But she obviously adds a lot of experience in that lineup if she does take the field. And she's got a lot of skill too, and she was their captain last year. So that'll be interesting to see what happens 24 hours out and then the hour before, obviously, the team lists. For me, I think the Eels just missed too many tackles through the middle. And Michaela Brake took real advantage of it.
Didn't she?
And, actually, to be fair, I think both sides, their middle defence was a little bit sketchy, and that's where their opposition took advantage. So I think if both teams can fix that up, this will be a really good contest. Yeah. Really, really good contest. And I'm going to tip the Raiders at home to break the hoodoo. Yeah. The home ground hoodoo. Yeah. And obviously maybe just that little bit of fatigue from the travel for the Eels could be the difference.
Okay. Next one, we've already spoken a little bit about this. Bulldogs versus Dragons. It's the 20A Sisters Cup, really.
Yeah.
Alexis v Trinity, they're very excited.
Yeah. I saw an excellent sign at a game last week, and I think it said like Trinity is real, from The Matrix.
No, I don't know the
and
reference.
I was like, oh, okay.
Sorry.
I'm a bit of a nerd. I just exposed my nerdiness. And I thought that was really clever.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, now Jordan's cracking
Jordan
it.
gets
Jordan
it.
knows it.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it was like
Well
a
done, Jordan.
Harry Potter reference, I would have got it. Sorry.
No. I'm a nerd for Harry Potter too. Don't worry about that. So I think it'd be really cool to see them go up against each other. Very, very cool. Obviously, big loss with Teka being out for the Bulldogs. I'm expecting that Dimmick and Hopoate really will have to step up and take on a lot of the work that she would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they've got Hope Millard starting in place of Teka. Whether that stays that way or not, I'm not sure. But Braden has been pretty consistent. When he names a side, he just keeps it at that. We'll see what ends up happening at the end of the day. But so I'm expecting those two girls to really sort of step up and take a bit more responsibility on. And for the Dragons, I actually think they're both really well balanced. These sides, like they've got really great strike and really great strength, and it's going to be cool to see how they play against each other. There's obviously the halves is a real matchup to watch.
Mm-hmm.
The fullbacks both playing really great football for them. And I've actually really enjoyed that right edge attack for the Dragons. I think they look really special.
I think they're quite evenly matched.
100%. 100%. And speaking of 18th players, Bronte Wilson has been named at 18.
There you go.
This week as well. So that'll be really cool to see whether she actually pushes into that 17 or if something happens and she comes in. Hopefully not, because that would mean there's injuries. Hopefully that's not the case. But if she does get her crack, I think she'll be very, very strong. But this is going to be really cool. And actually, you know what? Seeing Holly Wheeler and Hannah Southwell go at each other in the middle for a bit, the two older seasoned veterans, the seasoned pros, that'll be cool.
Who do you think is going to win?
I think the Dragons might get this one.
Okay.
I'm not even sure. Because they're so evenly matched.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say I'm gonna say the Dragons.
All right. You'll be wrong, but that's fine. Sharks and Cowboys.
Oh, this is gonna be a good one. And this is at Shark Park too.
Yeah.
Obviously the Sharks uber impressive last week. Really good return to the winner's circle.
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys would be disappointed with that loss against the Knights, especially being at home.
Yeah.
Because they played so well at home the week before. And the Knights rolled them. Yeah. So they'll be very disappointed. And especially also, I guess, their old coach going up there and getting one over them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. For me, I think the key, obviously, Emma Verren. Yeah. They need to try and shut her down. So their middle defence has to be watertight. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, she will just roll. And it's going to be really hard for them to do that because Quincy Dodd also played incredibly well.
Did.
I mean, if Emma wasn't playing, Quincy gets player of the match. Yeah. She was that good. Yeah. And she has she's got a run threat, a kick threat. She's wily around the ruck. She brings her forwards onto the ball well. So that the middle is going to have to be really strong for the Cowboys defensively. Now, for the Sharks, the same actually applies because Emma Manzelmann is on fire. Yeah. Her round one game particularly was incredible. Mm-hmm. Like she just tore that ruck apart. So the Sharks are going to have to be on their best behaviour through the middle as well and stay connected because she will just go to town. And even Jakaya Whitfeld at fullback, if you present a really fractured kick chase to her, she can take advantage of that. So, I'm tipping the Sharks at home. Yeah. But this is going to be a good game to watch as well.
Then we get to Sunday at Leichhardt Oval. Tigers will host the Titans. Both sides haven't had a win this season so far.
Yeah, and this is going to be a tough game for the Titans. I think the travel as well. They've had obviously a lot of injury. They're missing their key or their big tackler through the middle. Georgia Hale is suspended, so that is going to be a big ask. Lafipo will go to lock. This is going to be a really big one for the Titans. I think they need the win to keep their spirits up and to sort of keep themselves going forward. And from the Tigers' perspective, they've looked so close the last couple of weeks. And I think if if they can back up the last couple of weeks' performances with another similar like gritty and staying in the fight, they could get the win over the Titans here. This could be a really close one. So I'm gonna call the West Tigers for this one. I just think there's too much quality missing from the Titans at the moment, and their middle got pulled apart last week, and they'll be disappointed with that because their middle's been a real strength for them. Yeah, and I think I spoke about this during the call that their ruck D and just their marker D was behind, like just half a step off where they needed to be. And obviously the message we got from Bronte, she spoke to the coaches or got info from the coaches, and that was a big one that Karen Murphy spoke about. So they'll do a lot of work on that this week. But I just get the feeling that West Tigers may get this one.
We're just going to see Kezzy in space again. And
how exciting.
That's the best ever.
And then like, when she's playing back row, she runs such a good line at back row, but she's so versatile that she can play in the middle for them as well. And I will say as well, I have to say, Montana Clifford played really well last week. Yeah. I think they were sort of saying she's MAD. She was absolutely killing it, just tackling everything, catching everything. She was hitting big. It was,
Love it.
really good.
All right, I'm going to skip the next game because that's going to be our game of the round. So let's just quickly go Knights v Warriors. Yep. Warriors got their first win. Knights got their first win for the it's only been 2 rounds, but they're both coming off wins. Yep. Will be a good battle. Old coach going to Ronnie Griffiths facing up against the Knights.
Yeah, returning back to Newcastle for the first time. Yeah, this will be a really good game because, again, like the Bulldogs, Dragons, they're both very well matched, these two teams. To me, I felt like, considering it was only her second game in the NRLW, Michaela Breakers unlocked how she can play. Yes. And she was epic. Yeah. She was great. So that's a really good sign, I think, for the Warriors. She's going to be very, very hard to handle. So that middle D is going to have to be on song. Yep. And obviously I think last week having Higo back for the Knights made a really big difference for them. So it's going to be a really good match. And it's Knights at home, Warriors away.
I think it's after the men's Knights game, so there'll be a good crowd of Novocastrians there too.
Yeah, it will be afterwards. I'm going to go the Warriors.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I could read your mind.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Warriors away from home. Yep. Yeah, their first away win.
Beautiful. Yep. All right. Well, before that match, because this is going to be our game of the round. Like, in terms of the way that the competition's looking, these two powerhouses are scary. Yeah. And it's the Broncos and the Roosters.
Yeah, this is absolutely the game of the round. Yeah. Absolutely. And everybody will be tuning in for this one because both teams undefeated, both posted decent score lines in the first 2 rounds of the competition. And again, another team that is really evenly matched across the board, like really, really evenly matched. And I would say the only it's not even a kink or even like a little foothold, is that Corbin Baxter playing 6 v Gal Broughton playing. She's that's the only difference. Yeah. But Corbs has been playing really well there, and she's a real run threat. So I think that's going to be really.
This is so cool. Hard to call.
Yeah, I know it's a really tough one because they're all playing really well. I thought Bree Spreadborough was really good through the middle last week. Really, really good. Jada Ferguson was great.
Yeah, wasn't she?
She was great through the middle. Yeah. And everyone that came on for them added value for the Broncos. And the Roosters, I know they probably weren't completing where they would like to. And what's actually quite scary for the Roosters, we actually haven't seen their best football yet this season. And they're still posting. And they're not completing anywhere near where I'm sure John Strange would be wanting them to. Yeah. So that's where they've still got more in them, which is really cool, and every team does at the moment. Every team does, but we just know the strike that the Roosters have. Yeah, they do, and obviously Surgis and Kelly in centre. Navindi's back, so she's back from that HIA, and then Mia Wood on the other wing, and. Yeah, I think the spine is going to be a really interesting battle. Really interesting battle. Tamika Upton jumping in there. Hopefully she's okay. She didn't finish the game last week. Hopefully that's just a precautionary thing, taking her off and just giving her a spell. That could potentially tip it in the Roosters' favour if she doesn't play. Okay. But I just thought the bench for both teams adds such great value. Yeah. And that's where the game's at now, because all the starting teams are pretty like fairly even, like really, really even. And it's the bench that makes a big difference. So, yeah, I think if the Roosters play to the level that I know they can, they'll probably get the win away from home. But I actually can't pick it.
Yeah, I know.
I actually can't pick this one because the Broncos are on fire. Gal Broughton's killing it.
Yeah.
She's playing so well.
Yeah.
And like I said, Jada Ferguson was really good last week. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think maybe there's an extra kick threat out of 9 with Keely Davis for the Roosters. And obviously Joss Kelleher, her kicking game and her organisation's fantastic. And then Kernick ball playing through the middle. So they do look a little different. They play a little differently to the Broncos because of Kernick. Yeah. And that ability, they can play a bit wider and she ball plays for them. So, yeah, I think I might go Roosters in an upset. I think everyone will be probably tipping the Broncos. Yeah. And I think I'm going to tip the Roosters for an upset.
Okay. Oh, that'll be so good. Hey, make sure you're watching all of our NRLW games live and free on 9 and 9 now, all across the weekend. Thank you so much, Rue, for sharing all your wisdom as per usual. And thank you for listening to the NRLW Weekly podcast with Marlee Silva and Ruan Sims. Thanks to Lite N Easy and Harvey Norman.